What if hitting a milestone birthday didn't just make you reflect, but completely transformed your life? In today's episode, Shannon shares how turning 50 ignited an awakening that led her to leave behind burnout, break free from emotional abuse, and step boldly into her purpose as a transformational life coach. From single motherhood and surviving toxic relationships to building a thriving real estate career, and then realizing success without fulfillment isn't enough. Shannon's story is all about rewriting the script. We dive into boundaries, resilience, rewiring the brain for positivity, and how to create a legacy that truly matters. This conversation is honest, empowering, and will have you rethinking what's possible for your own next chapter. Hey, Queen, welcome to the She Elevates podcast. I'm your host, Liz Rakin, your favorite elevation bestie who's been through it, healed from it, and came back stronger with a mission. This podcast is your safe space and soul sanctuary where we talk real about relationships, motherhood, money, mindset, and everything in between. So if you're ready to reclaim your power, reconnect your purpose, and rewrite your story, let's get into it. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us on She Elevates podcast today. I'm super excited to have you here. Your story, your journey, the impact that you're making today is fabulous. Thank you for being on She Elevates.
Thanks for having me, Liz. I look forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. You've had an incredible full transformation in your life. Can you take us back to the moment where you decided something was off and something had to change in your life?
Yeah, I think I've had a couple of awakenings, I like to call them. At 30, I had my son. And for those of us that are moms, it really changes you when you're responsible for this little human being. And then I had another awakening at 40. I was leaving an abusive relationship and started a new career. But I think the biggest wake up was when I turned 50.
Wow.
And I really had an existential crisis. I was thinking, okay, I am past middle aged. It is downhill from here because I'm not going to be 100. Fingers crossed, I'll be 95 like all my grandmothers. What am I doing with my life? And it started with my birthday trip to celebrate my big 5-0. I'm a
Great.
fan. And we went to New York to see some shows. And the last show that we saw was Hamilton. And
Fantastic.
yeah, and Hamilton, it was really new. The buzz was all there, and people didn't really know too much about it. They hadn't released the cast album. And I found myself really emotionally moved by the story of Hamilton. And if you aren't aware or big theater buff, every show has a theme. And the theme of
Yeah.
Hamilton is legacy. And this idea of legacy, it didn't come consciously, it was subconsciously.
Yeah.
That's what really moved me. And at the time, I had a coach for my business. I was a real estate agent and I had a production coach to help. But I started wanting to have these deeper conversations. So between the age of 50 and 53, I was still struggling. And at 53, I changed my coach to a transformational coach, which is the kind of coach that I am. And we started
Yes.
having these conversations about legacy, values, what I really wanted this part, it sounds awful, morbid, this last part of my life to look like. And these were the conversations that I really wanted to have. And this coach and these conversations really changed my life.
Wow, what a journey. And I can definitely relate. When I turned 40, I was like, okay, what am I doing? I started questioning everything. I think I had questioned it before, but I never was like ready to take action. Like when that big year hits, whether it's your 30, 40, 50, like I think we're all just ready for something new, something different than what we're used to. And I just love that you see this every year, whether it was in your 30s, 40s, 50s. Who knows what the future holds, but I'm super excited to see how it plays out. I can relate to the children aspect. They definitely change our lives. I feel like it gave me like this bigger drive to be a better human, a better mother. And I can see how your son definitely affected you and made you want to jump into something else. Let's talk about your divorce in your 40s, right? You mentioned walking on eggshells, crying daily. What really helped you to gather the courage to leave, especially as a mom? Like, this was a big part of my story, and it was a struggle, is a really hard leap to take. So, what kind of unfolded in those moments?
In the abusive relationship, I wasn't married to him. So I'd already
Hmm.
gone through a divorce in my early 30s. My ex-husband and I separated when I was 33. Divorce was filed
Okay.
at 34. And then I think I met this guy,
Yeah.
awful guy. I think when I was 35. And he was verbally and emotionally abusive. A lot of
Hmm.
people were like, "Oh, but did he hit you?" And I
Oh,
I hated that so much because
yes,
if he doesn't hit you, it's not abusive. No, it is abusive
absolutely.
when they are emotionally abusive, when you are walking on eggshells, like you mentioned, because you don't know what's going to set them off because it could be different every day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then they withhold communication, they withhold everything, or they pick fight. Like it's awful. And so I was in that abusive relationship for 6 years. And it was from the time my son was 5 to 11
Okay.
of years. So there were a couple things that caused me to be like, I'm done.
Hmm.
Number one was I didn't want my son to think this is how you treated women.
Yes, absolutely.
He saw me crying a lot. He saw us fight, and it was not healthy fighting. It was not. It
Yeah.
was kitchen sink. It was pulling things in. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I talked to my mom. So my mom, God love her, she's on her fourth marriage, but they've been together since the 90s. Like this one lasted.
Yeah.
She'd been married 3 times by the time I was 10.
Okay.
So I knew she had some experience. And I asked
Yeah.
her at one point when I was just so sad and so just beat down. And I said, "How did you know that it was time to leave?" And she said, "When you're more afraid of what you know than what you don't know,
Wow. Yeah.
that it's gotten so bad that you're like, I don't care what I have to do, but I'm going to do it because I cannot do this anymore." And there were
Yeah.
many times in that relationship that I moved into the guest room and then he turned perfect again. This is what abusers do is they can
Yes.
charm and pull you back in.
Yeah.
There were many times that I had one foot out the door and he reeled me back in, but there was finally a time that I was, no, it's happened too many times and I literally cannot. And I finally left.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Those are some powerful words from your mother and truly transformational. Once you hear that, it's holy cow. Yes. It's so much worse than what it could possibly be. And it's
My
amazing that she said
mom
that.
saw her go through these relationships that
I
were
was just going to say that.
not
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And she, even in marriages, was pretty much a single mom of four.
Oh, wow.
4. I had 1. And I had this different respect for her that not only did she make the decision to leave, but she had to be responsible for 4 kids.
For
That's a
humans.
lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. She's very strong.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. And you got to see that growing up, like how powerful she is when you step into what you know and your truth. And she's putting up boundaries, right? Those are some of the hardest things to do when we leave these relationships is to really redefine who we are and go back to our inner child and undo all of the toxic things that have been taught to us during that time period. It is definitely a struggle. I was a single mom as well, and it was a challenge because we grow up with these images of these perfect households and the family is together and the kids have both parents. It's just not reality. It's not reality. And you have to be authentic to yourself. If you felt it, your intuition, I always say like a woman's intuition is like the best gift that we are ever given. And I think we know it for a long time when the relationship is over, but we just hold on to it for whatever reason. We all have our different reasons, but to take that leap and say, nope, I'm going to do this. I'm done. Whatever unfolds in the future is going to unfold. And it usually is so beautiful. The next
Yeah. It's
chapters
definitely
are
better on
just
the other
so
side.
amazing. It's so
Yeah.
much better on the other side.
There's a lot of pain,
Like,
a lot of hardship you have to go through, but like most things in life, when it's
yeah,
hard to get to the other side and you're healed somewhat, you're like,
yes,
I'm so glad that I did that hard thing
Yeah.
Another thing I learned from my mom was I was born in 65. I'm going to be 60 this year. And that this generation, Gen X, especially the first year of Gen X, there were not conversations between me and my
Yeah.
mother about what
That's
she was
true.
going through and
Mm,
being transparent and all that kind of stuff. And she was rightly so exhausted trying to take care of 4 kids. There was a lot of fight
right.
house. We went to
Yeah.
therapy as kids to try and stop us fighting. It was very chaotic. I also learned from my mother that I wanted to have different conversations with my son about really deep things, and we have since he was young.
Oh,
You
oh,
know,
that's fantastic.
yeah. So you can also
Yeah.
model behavior on the other side, like what not to do.
Yeah. And make right of a wrong and turn something so negative into a positive because now you are modeling what life should be and taking care
Yeah.
of you and making sure you're happy. A happy mom goes a long way when there's a kid involved. It's funny that you say that I just recorded another podcast and she literally has a book that it's called He Didn't Hit Me. It's mind blowing that it doesn't take physical abuse to be abuse. It's still wrong. And unfortunately, it's not recognized by society. The courts will just throw us under the bus if they don't see signs of actual physical abuse. It's so hard to get people to understand. So I love that you're being vulnerable and sharing this. And thank you so much because this is what we need to hear. This is what other women are going through, and they don't know that they're not alone in it because it's something that people are embarrassed to talk about. I know I was embarrassed for a very long time, but as soon as I started opening up, your circle, your support becomes so much greater. I can see that truly transformed your life having these conversations with your mother. We all have something to offer each other. So it's beautiful that you were able to pull her in and just be like, hey, I know we don't have these conversations, but I need to hear from your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. We had a couple conversations as an adult, like her third husband, who she married when I was 10, was an alcoholic.
Oh,
And they were married from the time I was 10 until college. And there's a lot of damage when you grow up in the household of an addict, not knowing if you're going to come home from school and they're going to be drunk or not. Who are you going to get when you
mhm,
come home? There's a
yes.
lot of chaos. She actually apologized when I was an adult. She
Oh,
said, I thought I could fix him. And I knew that this
oh,
was hard on you kids, but I really thought I could fix him. And so that vulnerability from her really meant a lot. It didn't undo all the damage that was done to us growing up and being in that.
yeah.
We've all had to take on our own healing, and all 4 of us have done it to different levels. My youngest sister, I think she and I have done the most personal development. My brother, not a lot, and my one other sister, she's done some as well. But that's on us to do
Yeah.
to take what we were given and to create new patterns because you can't transform, you can't change the life that is not the life that you want if you're carrying around all the old thoughts and emotions. You have to go
Yeah.
through the personal development journey. And let me tell you, as a personal development coach, because that's basically what a transformational coach is, it never ends. Like the
It
journey
never
never
ends. It never ends. Like,
ever.
I know you and I are both fulfilled in who we are and what we've become, but I just can't imagine like this fire, this passion, this desire that we both have, where it's going to take us. Like the growth journey literally never ends. And you can always pivot and transform. And, when I get challenges now, Shannon, I get excited. I'm like, okay, wait, this is a growth period. This is
Yeah.
super hard and difficult, but I cannot wait to see who I become and what happens on the other side of this. And my faith leads me through a lot of it. So I'm just like, okay, God, you're doing it again. You're ready for me to level up and become the
Yeah.
next level of me. And I'm like, ooh, I get excited now. I really do. I love
Yeah,
a
it's
challenge.
okay. Shit hitting the fan. I know
Yeah.
there's going to be some growth here, and I'm going to look forward to it being over. And for those of you that are listening, it doesn't mean that when you are like a growth junkie, like we are, that
Yeah.
you don't, have down times. There are days where
Mhm.
I'm over growth, like I'm over it. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to grow today. And it's okay to have a day where you're like, ugh.
Yes.
You just don't want to stay there.
No.
You can visit Pity Town, but you can't move in.
Yeah.
You can dip your toe in, move on. It's okay to have
Yeah.
the emotions,
For sure.
but reframing it, like you said, of okay. And I remember when I was going through my divorce back in the 90s, that I read something that said that growth comes from when you're depressed, when you're down. And I had a friend that would call and check on me every day. And she said, "How are you feeling today?" And I said, "Very gifted." Because they said depression's a gift. I'm very gifted today.
Yeah, that's a good way
Like,
to reframe it.
yeah, I was trying. It was hard
Yeah,
because for those that go through a really bad breakup or divorce, like there's a lot of grief and mourning of what you
very.
thought was going to
Oh,
happen. There's the
yeah.
guilt when you have kids involved. There's so many negative emotions,
Oh,
and it
for sure.
can be hard to say, "Oh, I'm really excited that I'm going to be growing through this."
Yeah, it
And if you
is.
do it tongue in cheek, like I did, like feeling very gifted today, just
Yes.
put one foot in front of the other. It's not going to last forever. And when you get on to
Yes.
the other side, there is a reward.
Yeah, and that is really the message I want because when I sat there and I was like, there is no way that things are going to turn around, get better. There's no way I'm going to even find another man who loves me, who wants to be with me, divorced. And I have 4 daughters too. And I was like, there is no way I could not see the other side. There was no way where I was like, oh, I'm going to be happy and I'm going to have a great partner and he's going to love my children the way that I do. But this is a message I want for people. Like it's totally in your reach. Like anybody
Yeah.
can get there. You got to work on yourself. You got to heal yourself. You got to take those steps, even if it's baby steps, like a little
Yeah.
bit at a time and celebrate those wins. Celebrate that you got out of bed in the morning, that you took a walk, that your feet hit the earth.
Yeah.
All of those are small wins. And I think rewiring these negative beliefs that we thought of ourselves through these toxic relationships and then reaching for the next chapter that we can take. And I know for you, Shannon, you decided to become a real estate agent as a single mom, and it was a tough market at the time. So, what drove you to keep going during that phase in your life?
Honestly, I don't know. So
You
yeah,
did.
when I left that abusive relationship, I was 40, almost 41, and I'm the mother of an 11-year-old. And HGTV had come out a few years prior, and I have a background in the arts. And one of the things that I had really missed from the jobs that I'd had, because they were just jobs to pay the bill, I was in the mortgage
Sure.
industry and just doing what I needed to do to pay the bills. I wanted something that gave me passion. And so I was watching on HGTV and they had stagers. So I said, oh, that's great. I could become a stager. So I researched and found certification process. And I said, where am I going to get my clients? I know I'll get my real estate license. I'll join a brokerage and then I can market to those agents. So this was my
Yes.
state of finding something that I could be creative in. So I joined a real estate brokerage. And like you said, it was a hard market. It was August of '06. And
Oh my gosh.
so in Maryland, where my license is,
Yeah.
the bubble had already started to lose air.
Sure.
Oh, it was '07. I'm like, nah, it was already happening.
It
So
was warming up. Yeah.
between August and the end of the year in '06, I think I had 2 rentals. That was the amount.
Okay.
Now I sold the house that I had with the crazy guy, and so I had some
Yeah.
income, and I lived off the proceeds of that sale for my first
Nice.
year of real estate. And in
Yeah.
2007, I think I sold 10 houses. I thought I was
Okay.
super busy, but it
Yeah.
really allowed me the flexibility and the freedom to have my own schedule. So being a single mom
Yeah.
is hard to make sure you're getting all the things done when you're sitting at a desk between 9 and 5. Really hard.
Yeah. Totally.
And so I was like, all right, this is going to give me freedom and flexibility where I can be home when he gets home from school, check in, make sure he has a snack, homework, plan. And then if I need to go back out, I can go back out or work from home in the afternoons. I think that kept me going and not giving up, even though it was not making income at the beginning. I just kept going. I was going to
Yeah.
all the trainings. Even before I was a coach, I love learning. I love going to classes and learning. And plus, in this new industry, I'm like, I need to learn. So I would go to all these classes.
Sure.
And I just kept going. And by 2009, my business really had taken off. And I remember I had my first month, I made $30,000 in a month.
Fantastic.
I saw the potential and I was like, boom,
Yeah.
okay.
Let me do that
And
again.
yeah, let's do that again. Now that is before my broker split, before all my expenses and all that kind of stuff. But still, I
Yeah.
saw the potential. By 2017, I was like, that was my quote, best year in business. I sold 53 homes as a single agent. My GCI, which is
Wow.
that before broker, before expenses, my GCI, gross commission income, was $480,000 for the year.
Wow.
I never made that
Fantastic.
much money. I think I made $45,000 before I had gotten into real estate.
Yeah.
So then it was a lot. Now I only paid taxes on about half of that between expenses, but I was burnt out. I wasn't healthy,
Wow.
overweight. I wasn't taking care of my health. I wasn't pouring into my relationships. I didn't have time.
Oh,
And
wow.
and this kind of coincided with that existential crisis at 50.
Sure.
In 2017, right, I'm 52. So it had already
Right.
started at 50. I hit this wall and I was like, I cannot keep going like this. I love my clients. I loved real estate. I didn't love my life.
Wow. That's powerful to recognize that.
Yeah.
And a lot of high achieving women like yourself do face burnout. It's unfortunate, but it happens. We try to fill all these buckets, right? Being a mother, being a real estate agent, taking care of clients, being the best that you can by attending all these classes, training, all these things.
Yeah.
But we exhaust ourselves.
Uh,
What did you do? What were the signs that you felt like you ignored at first? And then how did you get out of burnout, that rut that you were having during that time period?
So burnout is really about not setting boundaries. And I know women, a lot of people that are people pleasers. One of the things I'm certified
Hello.
in is a program. And one of my top saboteurs is the people pleaser. And so we have a hard
Oh,
time
that's great.
boundaries, right?
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And that's what creates burnout because you're not saying no, you're saying yes to everything.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're doing it from a pleaser, saboteur perspective, or you're just not taking the time to think and just saying yes automatically, all
Yeah.
without you're not setting boundaries. So it can be really hard to learn how to set boundaries when you're not
Oh,
used.
oh,
When
yeah.
you're
Your
not
whole
used.
life, right? Your whole life. You're like, no, I've been a yes girl my whole life. How can I change now? That's a lot of unlearning and conditioning, likely from your childhood, that you need to undo those patterns. I definitely was a yes girl, people pleaser, empath. I felt everything, all the feelings when I said no to people. I was like, oh, this is hurtful to them. And then we make up stories that's
Yeah.
probably not even true. Oh, they're going to not talk to me ever again, or I'm not going to get an invite again because I said no to this thing. And those are just false beliefs that we're
Yeah.
feeding ourselves that aren't even true. And people actually like when you set boundaries. People love the woman who's, I'm not going to be doing that. I don't have time for that. I'm going to be over here. I have
Yeah.
to spend time with my child, and he is a priority.
Complete sentence. You don't even have to explain why you're saying no. Like,
Exactly.
no, thank you for thinking of me, but
And why is that so hard? What's your
yeah,
letter word that most babies know within their first 5 words? No.
yeah, I think they definitely do that before. Yes, for sure.
I think so too. I
Yeah.
actually, with my first child, I refused to say no around her. And so I use I kept saying and I don't know why that was difficult for her to repeat. So she said yes first. And I was like, this is great. But then as soon as she learned it, it was like, no. But yeah, it is super hard as an adult to say no. And I think it's harder for women just personally because we had this caretaker need that we want to pour out to everybody and make sure everyone's happy. And tell you what, August 16th, we have 3 or 4 things that people had told us about to join, but we already had this trip planned to Pittsburgh. And I'm like, oh, what do we do? But no, it's
Yeah.
already decided. We already decided what we were doing, right? We were going to Pittsburgh, and we need to be able to say no to all of these other things that came up after the fact. For our priority is
Yeah.
a family trip in the summer. So it's
Yeah.
very hard to say that. And you will get invited later. Stop making up these lies in our head.
They're going to not be my friend or whatever. But I think you also hit on a great point of you have to be honest about what really matters. And this trip with your
Yeah.
family, is what really matters.
Yeah.
And so honesty is also a big part of learning how to be at choice. Like I'm choosing who I want to be. Like there's the doing and there's the being. And we're stuck in
Sure.
the doing all the time. Who do we need to be? I want to be the mom that puts my kids first, or I want to be the mom that's always present. And so being
Yes.
honest about who you want to be allows you to be more at choice. And when we're at choice, then it's much easier to set that boundary without the guilt, because then that guilt comes up too.
Yes.
And like any emotion, guilt will just be fleeting, but we allow guilt to have so much power in our lives that it really doesn't have that much power. And the
Yeah.
more that you learn to live with the guilt, it loses its power on us, over us.
Yeah.
So knowing that guilt is part of life, part of
Yeah.
motherhood, we're going to feel guilty,
Right.
period.
No matter what.
And just saying, you know what? It's okay if I feel a little guilty. I'm going to choose who I want to be in this moment. I'm going to set the boundary and I'm going to be at choice as to who I want to be right now.
Yeah.
It's much
Yeah.
more like just talking about it is just more grounding than, oh my God, I'm so busy. I have to do all these things. I have all these balls in the air, blah, 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 blah. When you
Mhm.
talk about how busy you are and how chaotic your life is, the more busy you're going to be and the more chaotic your life is.
For sure.
So taking that breath, really thinking about who do I need to be? What boundary do I need to set? What can I really be honest about in this moment? And ignoring the guilt is just allowing you to do something different than the patterns that have been repeated.
Mhm.
So a great
Yeah.
question to ask yourself is, how would my life look different if I chose a different action
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah. So how do you take your clients, or what do you suggest for the listeners that are looking to be able to set those boundaries? Is this a journal entry that they would want to write about, or there are steps or actions that maybe they can take away from today who are listening who want to set better boundaries?
Yeah. One of the things that I take my clients through is because a lot of my clients are in real estate. Not all of them are,
Mm,
but a lot of them are because that's who I know.
that's who you are.
But it's really about, and especially for busy entrepreneurs, busy moms, and we're all busy. Aren't we all busy?
Yeah, we
Right?
all stack a million things that one human is totally not capable of achieving on our
And
plates. It's pretty wild.
usually we wake up and we're like, we just let the day run us. So
Mm.
what I do with my clients is I do a weekly planning session with them on Monday mornings. And we take a look at their week coming up, like what's already on their calendar. We have our to-do list, which I call a capture list because I'm just capturing the thoughts in my head.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my capture list. I redo it every
I
week.
love it. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love it. So
I separate it
Monday
into
morning.
business and
Okay.
personal, and I highlight things that are most important for this week because everything doesn't need to get done. You know?
Exactly.
I want
Yeah.
to be at choice at how I spend my time, and I want to make sure that I have enough time for myself.
Yeah.
So I take my clients through this weekly planning and we look at the week. Is it a busy week already? Or is it a week that I don't have a lot on my calendar? Maybe I can get some things done on my to-do list. But most importantly, who do I want to show up as this week? What's my
Okay.
outcome for me? That even if the day
Yeah.
goes south, which a lot of times the day goes south.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe this week I want to show up as somebody who sets boundaries, puts
Yeah.
themselves first, has
Mm-hmm.
empathy for themselves, whatever way you want to frame it. And then I write that at the top of my capture list, who I chose to be this week. Remind myself every time I look at this list, I'm like, and so it's really about choosing how do we want to show up, reminding ourselves every day because chaos will happen. And you can
Oh,
either
yeah.
let it derail your day or you can, like I said, be a choice and say, okay, great. Well, that's not urgent. So I'm going to put it on my capture list. I'll take care of that.
Yeah.
And this is what I've chosen to do today. This is how I've chosen to show up today. But it all
Yeah.
comes back to at the beginning of our conversation, being a choice, being honest.
Mm-hmm.
As an example, recently I had a performance with a local choir, which was big because I hadn't performed since I moved to Florida over
Oh,
5 years ago.
wow. Well, congrats. That's huge.
And so it was the first time that I was performing in 5.5 years. And they were doing a live stream. And my husband wanted to share the live stream link with his coworkers. And he had a meeting in the morning on Zoom with his coworkers. And I had told him the night before, I need that link. And I was like, yeah, it's on my list for tomorrow. Because
Yeah.
every day before I leave my desk, I write down the priorities for tomorrow. So I already know
Okay.
what I'm going to tackle tomorrow.
That's a good exercise. That's great.
And that way I know how I'm going to start my day. I know when my first appointment is. I know what my priorities are and what I'm going to do. So I said, what's on my list for tomorrow? And after his meeting, the day of the concert, I need that link. The old version of me would have dropped everything that I was doing to send him the link because he asked. I took a deep breath because that anxiety just came up for a split second. And I was like,
Sure.
I already told him, I was like, it's tonight at 7:30. He doesn't need it right this moment. It's
Right.
not urgent.
Sure.
So I finished what I was doing and then I sent him the link. But it just shows, it was really interesting in the moment that I was like, gosh, the old version of Shannon would have been like, oh my God, let me get him the link. I don't want to
Yeah.
that I didn't send it to him right away. And I was like, no, it's already on my list. It doesn't need to happen until the concert's tonight at 7:30. And it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, I did it today.
Plenty of time.
So
Yeah.
just not allowing other people's agenda to hijack you. And look, it's not going to happen every time. You will fail. You will get hijacked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No matter what
if-
is written down on your list.
Practice it. And then, like you said, celebrate. Woo, I did something different.
I did it. Yeah. And then you reflected, you were aware of it. I think a lot of time we're not even aware of these things that we do. And until you actually, I love that you're writing it down and then you get to play it out for the whole week because habits, if you want to change them, you have to repeat it and you have to have it right in front of you. I'm going to start doing that exercise. I love that you have it right on your notepad, right in front of you every Monday. Make the list, use it throughout the week. I think for me, I didn't write it down, but last week I told myself I'm going to be someone who just flows. And that was the woman I wanted to become. Keeps throwing so many things at me when I'm like trying to record a podcast. And my daughter's, Mom, I need you right now. And I'm like, okay, what if the universe is like just telling you to flow with it? And a lot of people are like, oh, your daughter came on. She's so cute. Whereas moms are like, no, can't have her. Like we freak out. We put so much pressure on ourselves. And it's like, why are we writing the story that this is horrific that she popped in my Zoom call? And that's been going on for years. That was really hard for me with work. And I'm like, what if the universe is just telling us like, hey, it's okay. It's time to flow. I know a lot of times I'll just be warped in my laptop and I'm doing things. But what if the universe is like, hey, it's summer. Your kids are home. Go outside, go play. Like the work will still be there. And like you said, you might have all this pressure at you at 10 a.m. and you have a full day to get it done. Like just take that little nudge, run with it, flow with it. And I feel like that's been transformative for me just because I like to be like really rigid and like, this is the list and this is the solid list. But no, highlight what's important, let the rest flow. And it's way more peaceful. It's less stressful. And that's been so helpful for me, just being happy about all the little interruptions in my life. Like, how can I turn this little interruption into something positive and flow with it? Because everything, the universe is unfolding the way it should. And we don't know why. We've told ourselves all these lies. But I feel like had we listened to the universe when we were younger or along these journeys, like we could have been in different places than we are today, or it wouldn't have taken so long for us to get here. So I think that was what I took away from that is like last week was flow, but maybe this week I'll come up with some new habit that I want to recreate with myself.
I love that so much. Excuse me. You chose who you wanted to be, and that was in flow. Be a surfer. I'm just going to surf through all of these emotions. I'm going to just let things happen. Things are happening for a reason, like trusting in the process. And we've all heard, don't sweat the small stuff. That's an example of not sweating the small stuff.
Ooh, yeah.
We hear it and it sounds good, but that's a beautiful example of don't sweat the small stuff of your daughter coming on camera. It's not the end of the world.
No, it really
It
isn't.
doesn't have to be perfect. And also think about, you said, I like to be rigid and have this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Think about what you would tell one of your daughters if they were similar. No, I have to get this done. And you'd be like, it's okay if it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
Like you would have much more empathy and tell them different things than what you're telling yourself in the moment. told her that, what advice would you give your best friend or your loved one that you're not giving
Yeah.
yourself? And
Yeah.
and again, if your daughter was doing that and something wasn't perfect, you'd be like, sweetie, it doesn't really matter. There is no such thing as perfection.
Yeah. That is so true. Like, why do we find it so easy to give other people advice and we're just like so hard on ourselves? My girlfriend, she was cleaning her house yesterday and then she cleaned the garage and she was like, "Oh no, I need to go pick up the dog poop." And I'm like, "Wait, you're focusing on a whole garage right now. Don't worry about the dog poop. Finish one thing that you're focused on." But I do it too, right? I'm like, "Oh, there's a golden ticket over here. Oh, look at that fly, butterfly, dragonfly." Like all these things come in and distract us all the time. And I was like, "Girl, I'm telling you this because I do it to myself and I see myself in you." And I'm like, "Don't worry about the dog poop. It's fine. Let's finish the garage." So it's so
Well,
funny
and
that
you
we can
said, I don't
tell.
know what, I'm sorry. You said, I don't know why we have all these negative thoughts when it's so easy to give advice to somebody else.
It really is.
You're not
Yeah.
doing anything wrong. It's the way our brains are
Yeah.
wired. Our brains are wired to focus on the negative.
Ooh,
And it's a
wow.
way to keep us alive hundreds of millions of years ago or however long,
Sure. Safe.
Yeah. So the brain is hardwired to focus on the negative. The issue is that there's not a lot of death defying things in our world. There's not a sexy
Anymore,
tiger's
right?
going to come out and kill us, right? Or a dinosaur is going to step on us. So what we do is then our brain creates all this danger from, oh my God, I didn't finish that list today. Things that are
Yeah.
not a danger at all.
Don't even matter.
So our brains are hardwired. And what you have to do is you have to learn how to rewire your brain. That studies have shown, and this is all like cognitive psychology studies that have been done over the years, is it takes 3 positive thoughts to counterbalance 1 negative thought.
Oh,
So
wow.
our brains are focused on the negative and we're having very few positive thoughts. So we're just like this vortex of negativity all the time.
Yeah. We create the worst case scenario that doesn't even exist, but we go down this tunnel of like, what if this and then this is going to happen? Like the worst thing possible.
Yeah, exactly. It's these stories we tell ourselves, it's these patterns that we've been running for decades. And
Yeah.
so the way that you can actually rewire your brain is to do little tiny meditation. And they can take just as little as 10 seconds, but it literally will change how your neurons are firing because when we're in a negative pattern, those neurons are firing in the left hemisphere of our brain, which is where that fight or flight reptilian brain that you hear about, that's where it lives in our head. There is a portion of our right hemisphere that is the empathy circuitry. And so what we want to do is
Okay.
we change where those neurons are firing into the right hemisphere. And again, we do that by these little meditations.
Mm.
This deep breath. It's as simple as closing your eyes and focusing on what you can hear. It's as simple
Right.
as rubbing the tips of your fingertips together with such attention that you notice all the ridges and the textures and the temperature. And again, 10 seconds. It literally will rewire your brain. And
Wow.
and as I mentioned before, one of the things that I'm certified in is this saboteur program called Positive Intelligence. And they call these PQ reps, positivity quotients. So it's like an
Okay.
IQ or an EQ, and it's a way to
Yeah.
increase activity. When you're hijacked
Yeah.
thought, you just take a break, take a deep breath, rub those fingertips together, just reset. And then from a place that is not a negative
Yeah.
perspective, you react differently. When we get in these spirals, don't feel like there's something wrong with you.
It's
It's
normal. We
normal.
all do it.
Find a different way, try something different for a different result. And again, going back to that's when you're at choice.
Yes. My another guest on the podcast actually said she started reframing her thoughts when things would be negative. Instead of what's the worst thing can happen, she says, what's the best thing that can happen? So whether she's applying to do something or she's taken on a new business venture, her new quote that she uses and now I've taken on is, what is the best thing that can happen? And it's awesome to be able to think that, like, no matter
Yeah.
what is going on, like to think, wait, what's the best thing that can happen? It feels weird because you're not used to thinking that way, but it's exciting too, because you don't,
Yeah.
all these possibilities.
And
So,
it'll probably fall somewhere in between. when it's all said and
Yeah.
done, but it gets
Yeah.
you out of that negative story of, oh, it's the end of the world.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
another thing is gratitude. One of the things
Ooh,
that just warmed my
good
heart
one.
was my son. He told me when he gets anxiety or depression, he's, Mom, I listened to what you said. And
Well,
it
took a
happens
while to get there.
when they become adults, they come back and they
Oh my
realize they're
gosh,
actually
thank
smart.
goodness. There's
Yeah,
hope.
yeah, yeah. You're an idiot when they're a teenager, but in their 20s and 30s, they're like, oh, you actually know what you're talking about, Mom. But I would think about what am I grateful for today?
Oh, wow.
So
That's awesome.
there's so many ways that we can change that pattern, but until you notice a pattern, you cannot change it.
Yeah, awareness.
And that's the honesty part of, look, I am sabotaging myself. I am getting in my own way. I am just spiraling in negativity. Okay, great. You're being honest about what's happening. Now be a choice to do something
Yeah.
different. We've given you so many different ideas in this podcast of gratitude. What's the best thing that can happen? Doing the little
Boundary.
setting an intention of being in flow this
Yes.
week. So many
Oof.
great options you can try and say, all right, that one was a little tougher right now, but this one seemed easy. I think I'm going to do something
Yeah.
for a while.
Different methods work at different times in your life. I mean, I
Exactly.
even look at the perspective of a gym. When I got out of the toxic relationship, I was like, I'm not going to go to the gym with greasy men that I have to work out around. First, I started online, and that was like my baby step to getting fit and taking care of myself. I was in my home comfort zone. And then I joined a women's gym. So I was only around women, and we had this empowerment, this support. And we all like got it. We understood like fitness together and why we were all there. And then I was ready to take the step and be at like a co-ed gym that was more of like a social club. And I had grown over those years. So that worked for me in those chapters of my life. Like I probably wouldn't want to just work out from home anymore. Like I love being in the social element of it, but that is what I needed at that time in my life. So, yeah, there's different methods and different things that you need during different times, even from day to day. Like stuff changes. No, I did not just sit here and meditate right now. Like I'm so upset at whatever happened. For me, I go for a run. I'm like, running just feels so freeing to me. Sometimes it's a car ride. Like I like to just think I won't even play music. Sometimes it is music. Sometimes I'll put my headphones on and just rock out to something. So yeah, different things work at different times. And
And like you said, it's about noticing and those baby steps. I also have an avoider saboteur. And so I would find
mm,
myself sitting at my desk, just like pushing things around, not being productive. And I was like, okay, this is not working. So you
yeah.
have to do this. And then usually what I do is I do one of two things. I either get up so I can shift my energy because my energy is low,
It's a good
just
one.
similar to your
Move,
running, right?
change your environment.
Yep. So I get up, I maybe go do the dishes or like just go outside or maybe, like you said, take a walk or something. And then the other thing is I have an app that has a focus track. And
Okay.
it's an app, not cheap, but my coach told me about it called New Calm. It to reset my adrenal fatigue after being in stress mode for so many years. There's a rescue track, and it's all like binaural beat, all goes into your subconscious mind. It's really interesting. And the tracks is a focus track. Yesterday, I found I was low energy in the afternoon and I needed to write some notes for a call I have later today. I was honest. I was like, look, I'm procrastinating. I made the choice
Yeah.
to put on the headphones and put on that focus. And I tell you, I don't know what's in this track, but I usually
Yeah.
can get the focus within a minute. It's crazy
Mhm.
pants.
Wow.
It's
That is
really
awesome.
and so I made the choice to put on my earbuds and play that track, and I knocked everything else out on my list. Like, it just shifted what my brain was doing.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome. What is it called? New and
It was
calm
you
and
and you.
you and then calm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to look that up. That sounds awesome. I have tried it like on Spotify. I will put like tracks of focus music when I'm working. And yeah, there's definitely something that they are doing there. I don't know the science
Like,
behind it,
scratches
but
a part of your brain or something that needs to get scratched. Yeah.
yeah. And then you're like able to get so much accomplished. You're like, wait,
Yeah.
what happened? But yeah, there's different methods for that too. Some people are like, let me just set a 20-minute timer. What can I achieve in this 20 minutes? Whatever works for you in that time, that part, do it. But definitely try different things because different things might work differently. Some things better than others. And then being open, I find being curious about things and open to it, like maybe stuff that you wouldn't usually do. Some people might think that music thing sounds bogus. That's so woo,
Yeah.
right? A lot of
Woo-woo,
people don't want
yeah.
to try like the woo stuff, but be curious and open to it. And I feel like that's one of the things that I lead with now is just curiosity and being open to trying new things that maybe I would have pushed off in the past, but it
Yeah, and
definitely has given me
curiosity
growth.
yeah, curiosity is a great superpower of just
Yeah.
opening the possibilities. And again, what do we tell our kids? Just try it. See if you
Yeah,
like it.
that's so true.
Vegetable or an activity or whatever, just try it.
Yeah.
Make the determination if it worked or not.
Yeah, for
But you
sure.
can't make a decision until you try it.
Absolutely. I love your story, your journey. It's so impactful. I'm glad that you're sharing it. I'm grateful for you, Shannon, for coming on here today. She elevates, and you've given so many good key things that women can take away from today's podcast. And wow, what a journey you're on, and you're sharing it. And you've gone through so much, you've turned it into positive things. So, for the women that are listening, what is the one thing or one like piece of advice you would like them to leave with today when they get off this podcast? What would you want them to think about or do, take action? What would it be for the She Elevates listeners?
I really want women to know that it's not about finding your power, it's about realizing the power that you already have. We all have this goddess inside of us that we just need to tap into.
Yeah.
And I love taking people on the journey to find that power within that they've always had. It's like Dorothy with the red shoes. Like she always had the power
Yeah.
to go, oh, that's
Right.
inside of us. And as coaches, our job is to help uncover that beauty and that strength and that power that we have. And look, life is hard. Life beats us
Yeah.
down. Life,
Regardless.
it's busy. And there's two lives. There's the life we're living that maybe
Mhm.
isn't the life that we wanted. And then there's a life that we're capable of living if we just make a couple of tweaks.
Yeah.
So I want women to know that if you feel stuck, it's normal. And there are things you
Yeah.
can do to get unstuck. This is not a death sentence. You can change what's not going right in your life. And I believe
Yeah.
in you. You can do it.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Yeah, that's what She Elevates is about is us showing up and telling our story, where we've came from, the obstacles that we had. We've all been stuck in multiple really devastating ways. And when you're at that low, it's really hard to see another version of you or in the next chapter, but it's available to us all and it's within reach.
Yeah.
And I love that you said like the support, having a coach. I believe in mentors and coaches so much. Like I have had the growth that I've had because I've invested in myself, in who I am. I've always looked for people who are further along in the path. Like we have similar stories, but Shannon, you're further along. Like I'm investing in real estate and you've been through that journey and I'm a mother, so we relate there. So it's always building that connection, that network, and finding people who are, even if it's just one area that you want to focus on, like finding a mentor, coach, someone who can guide you because they've been there, they've gone through the trial and error. Why would you want to live that yourself when you
Yeah.
have someone that has, this is the method, I will get you there, will get you there quicker, and to know that your life can change so drastically, like pretty quickly, having
Yeah.
that person around in your element, your universe, so powerful.
Yeah. And look, a life change doesn't mean that you blow everything up, kind of what I did. Like I walked away from a big business. I moved to a new state. Like I blew up everything, but I've helped
Yes.
clients who are not happy in their job find joy in their job again.
Oh,
You know,
wow. Didn't even
so
leave the job.
no, it was
Yeah,
just,
just
again, finding that power, shifting, manifesting what you needed, changing what you're seeing, the perspective.
yeah,
And she thought
right.
she wanted to leave and start a whole new career. And she was like, oh my gosh, look how much has changed.
That's
You have to,
fantastic.
you just have
Yeah.
to be on that journey and be open and curious. Like you said, find this new version of you so you can see things differently and create a different reality. Really.
Yeah. How amazing is that? Not even applying to a job, but you could apply that to relationships, like being unhappy in your relationship, but having that pivot, that transformational mindset to
Yeah.
look at it differently. Even dating for me, it was very hard at first. I was like, oh, you're trying to control me. You said that because you want me to do this. And it was like, no, this is a good person. This is not the person that you had before. So I really had to shift my mindset in that. And I had someone to guide me and help me through these negative thoughts, these negative patterns that I believed before. And it really helped better the relationship that I have today. Yeah, transformational life coaches are much needed in, I always say, health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the three key things. And you can transform one area or all of them. Like,
Yeah.
totally up to you to create your journey and your
Yeah, it's
life.
like a little onion, right? There's different layers that you unpeel and
Yeah.
different things, and you just keep peeling it back. And yeah, it's a beautiful journey, unlike an onion, but it's
Yeah.
this constant growth that is just
Yeah.
a beautiful thing. So even like I said, life is hard. I tell this to my son all the time. It's just how are you going to show up? How are you going to show up when life is hard? Are you going to be the victim? Are you going to be stuck? Are you going to be like, this is life and we'll figure it out?
Yeah. It's so true because you could turn anything into something so beautiful and positive.
Yep.
So
Yep.
awesome. I love the impact that you're making, Shannon. Thank you so much. How can She Elevate listeners reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah. You can find me on my website, SML Coaching. That's my initials, Shannon Miller Lutz, smlcoaching.com. There's a contact me form. If you want to talk to me further, I'll reach out. There's a little bit of information about my packages there. I'm also on social media. You can find me either under my name, Shannon Miller Lutz, or SML Coaching. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I am going to be starting a new cohort for the Positive Intelligence Program.
Yeah.
Just finished one. Yeah, I just finished
Oh,
one last week. I think I had 3 people going through it and just life-changing ahas they've had. And so
yeah.
I'm gonna start another one in the fall. So either the very end of September, beginning of October. So it finishes before the holidays. It's a 7-week course. So
Great.
people to get their vacations finished and kids back into school and then have a little breathing time and then do this positive intelligence to find out how you're sabotaging yourself, how to rewire your brain, how to create more positive emotions so that you can show up in life differently when it craps all over you, because it will.
Yeah. And how great to do that before the holidays when everything gets chaotic and check
Set
that
those
box.
boundaries when all the
Oh
craziness
my
holidays.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the perfect timing for that. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. And yeah, please, everyone, go check out Shannon. She's got some great things on her site, her social media, all these great things. And I just want to shout you from the rooftop. So I'm going to keep sharing your stuff and put it in front of people. And you're doing amazing things and making an impact. And that's what it's about. So thank you for sharing your gifts, Shannon, with us today and in the world. I love it so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care. I created something powerful for the woman who's tired of playing small. If you're done surviving and you're ready to rise, this is for you. It's called the She Elevates Blueprint, a 7-day transformational guide to help you reclaim your power, reset your mindset, and redesign your life from the inside out. We're talking confidence, clarity, boundaries, money, love, healing, purpose, every area of your life. Each day, you'll get a journal prompt, an aligned action, an affirmation, and a voice note from me, yours truly. So it feels like I'm right there cheering you on. You're going to feel seen. You're going to feel grounded. And by day 7, you won't even recognize you. If you've been waiting for a sign to elevate your life, this is it. Tap the link, download your free copy of the She Elevates Blueprint, and let's step into your next level together. You're not alone. You're not broken. You're becoming. Let's rise, my queen. Thank you for tuning in to the She Elevates podcast. I hope today's episode poured into you. reminded you of your power, and gave you something to take with you on this journey of elevation. Share it with a friend, your sister, your tribe, because when one of us rises, we all rise. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and if you're feeling generous, leave a review. It helps more women find this movement and step into their highest self. Want more? Come hang with me over on Instagram at Liz Rankin Elevates, or join our free She Elevates community on Facebook, where we heal, grow, and glow together. Until next time, remember this: you're not behind, you're not broken, you're becoming. Keep rising, Queen. Your next level is already calling.